Alright guys, I just purchased a 1-ton gantry, a telescoping gantry crane from Harbor Freight, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting it together. I'm going to do the whole unboxing, look over the parts, assembly, and then we'll test it out. So here we go. Here's what it comes like. You get a crate and a box, and crate's pretty heavy. So we'll get it opened up and take a look at it. Alright, so here's the boxes opened up. You can see that looks like it comes partially assembled, which is really nice. So we'll get it out of the crates and take a look at it from there. Alright, so I got the bolts and whatnot kind of laid out. The hardware's a little chintzy. I mean, it's okay, but not the best of quality. The one thing I didn't like is that they recommend, you know, just putting one flat washer on this side and using the lock washer as a washer, and the holes are kind of oversized. So I just went ahead and put another flat washer on there, and I'll get some more for the rest of the application. But this is how they say to lay it out. So I'm gonna get this all bolted up, and then we'll put some sawhorses basically underneath here and here to get the legs raised up where you can put the cross members on there, or the rollers and the beams for the rollers. Alright, so here we go. I got the beam bolted up to the telescoping arms, and then I set the arms on these sawhorses. These aren't the best sawhorses, so I would recommend putting, you know, something here to here to keep them from coming together, and I'll probably end up having to do that before I can stand it up. But anyway, so now you're going to bolt up the wheels, the cross member, you know, here, and then there'll be wheels on that, and then you can lift it into position. So that's the next step, and I'll get that done and we'll look at it. After looking at the instructions again, it wants you to put the casters on before you put the cross members on there, which makes a little sense because you have to reach in here to put the nut and lock washer on. It didn't provide flat washers for these, but I didn't want to go without it because there's a slot, a groove. You can see right here on this one, there's a big groove here, and the nut or the bolt kind of head digs into that. I didn't really like how that was sitting, so I wanted to go ahead and just add a washer so we don't get any kind of deflection or anything in there. So I recommend that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that all bolted up, and then we'll bolt them up to those, and then we'll take a look at it again. All right, thanks. We are drinking today. Yes, out of the Stormtrooper mug of power, and that is coffee. So, anyways, so we got one side bolted up. I just got it kind of loosely sitting here, and just wanted to show you that you can see this has a slot. So again, I went with some washers just to kind of let that lock washer not bind up there, and then I put washers on the other side too. So like I said, you're just gonna need to buy some washers, and that's a metric bolt, but you know, I think a 1/2-inch washer ply will fit on that. But I'll be going to the hardware store probably shortly to get some more because I'm running out, so I'm using washers everywhere. Anyhow, so that's what it looks like. Gloves. Wear some type of glove. I really just totally jacked up the inside of my thumb. I'm grabbing a hold of this beam because it's steel and it has sharp edges. So these little rubber gloves aren't a whole lot of protection, but they seem to be doing the job. All right, well, let me give some more washers and we'll continue on. We got it stood up. That was pretty much a chore. Took 4 people, 2 on either side, and we just kind of guided it because you have the wheels on it, so it kind of wants to roll a little bit, but it's stood up. So the next step is to put these cross members right in there. Oh, I'm sorry, I kind of lost it. There you go, right here. So it comes down, goes down to that point, holds with some bolts. And then after that, we'll start putting the trolley on and get it bolted up and adjusted correctly. So that's the next step. Like I said, you probably need a couple people to get this lifted into position. I used 4, so and it wasn't that bad with 4 people. So okay, so we got the cross members put in place. I also went ahead and tensioned up the cable, on which you can see here the pin isn't actually, it's not resting on it, so I can adjust this upwards. And here in a minute, I'm going to do that. this cable was kind of sloppy, and inside here it basically was unspooled off of the drum in there. So I went ahead and just completely unspooled all the wire up and out, then held tension down on it and respun it on there. Seems like it's gear driven in there, so it's like takes a little bit of time to do that, but so you might want to take a look at that. I did tighten this up a little bit. It's got a recess that's cut into this pin, so this bolt accepts into there, so it won't pull out. But I did go ahead and just give it a little snug tightening, and then down here these were loose, so I went ahead and tightened those onto that. So that's that. I did go ahead and, like I said, did the double washer on both sides of this. And I did that pretty much everywhere on this thing. So you're gonna need a bunch of 1/2 inch and 3/8 washers. All right, so that's pretty much set up. So now I'm gonna break out the trolley, and we'll go to putting that on there and getting that adjusted. Be careful. Make sure you put the casters on the right side. They're all swivel casters, but 2 of them are locking. So make sure the locking are both on the same side. And it does denote that in the instructions, but you could overlook that pretty easily. So just make sure that when you do that, you have it on there correctly. Also, here is the trolley I purchased. This is the 2-ton, so 4,000 pounds. Now, they have a 1-ton, but it was out at the store. I was just gonna go ahead and get that. But this will work. It's a little more expensive. It was 89, so it came out to be like 77 out the door with the 20% off coupon. So that's pretty good. And then this was 729, and then you use a coupon and it brings it down to like 586, and then out the door with tax and everything, it's like 620. So you know, use the coupon, guys. You can print them off the website. If you can find a 25% off, that's even better, but 20% usually you can find them all day long. And make sure you bring that coupon up there with you. You can save some money. Anyhow, so that's what I did, and we'll go ahead and get this opened up and see what we got. All right, so we get it all unboxed. Of course, all this is wrapped in plastic, and this is what you're basically gonna get. So all your little components, make sure you have this. Some people were complaining that this ring was missing out of theirs. Fortunately, mine's in there, so that's good to go. Get your little instruction book, and we're gonna go ahead and get this thing put together and put up on the beam and get it adjusted. All right, so we got it up there. It recommends not doing this off a ladder. Let's get real. So here it is. These were just a bit too wide to go in here. So these go on the outside, then I put a washer on either side. It's 2 of them, and the same thing on the other side too. So this is evenly spaced in here, and it recommends like an 1/8 inch gap. I tried putting 3 out here, and when I tightened this nut down, it actually pulled it in where I had interference between here and here. So it's kind of hard to see that, but there is a little bit of gap, a little bit of movement, but it rolls freely. It's nice and smooth. We shouldn't have any issues with binding, and that's what I'm looking for. This is nice and flat. Put the cotter keys in and then bent them over. So there's a little less than an 1/8 on either side, and I recommend an 1/8. I think we're good there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the hoist, and we'll unbox it, and we'll hang it from the thing. So there you go. Here's the 1-ton chain hoist that I bought. Again, Harbor Freight. I actually picked this up on sale with a coupon on I think it was like 32 bucks. So that's what we're gonna go with, 1-ton. We'll get it opened up and see what you get. So here's the hoist. It was a little greasy. It just was basically just like this, wrapped in plastic. Right off the bat, I had to pop this chain back into the groove. It was stuck over here beside the guard. It wasn't real hard to do, but yeah, it wasn't real good. So anyways, I just hooked it right on there. It slid right on, no problems. Didn't have any kind of modification to that. The chain is hitting the ground, and the gantry is in its lowermost position. So I pulled the pins. I have them there, and I'm gonna go ahead and crank this thing up to get this chain off the ground. Once I get it off the ground, I'll repin it, and that's where it'll sit. So we'll do that. Right, we got that bad boy adjusted up. I don't know how much further it goes, but it's up there pretty good ways now. The chain is barely off the ground, you can see there. So that's kind of how I want to let it sit. Then of course I'll wrap the chain out of the way when I'm not using it, but that's it. This is the completed 1-ton gantry crane from Harbor Freight. So it's a pretty bad mamma jamma. And I look forward to using it. All said and done, I'm into this right about $740, I think. So with the coupons and everything, and then getting the trolley and the hoist, I mean it's not a bad investment. In fact, to tell you the truth, this is probably one of the cheapest or most inexpensive ways of going about this. These things can be pretty ridiculously expensive, especially for how heavy construction that this unit is. And then you got the cables that adjust it up and down, which is really kind of nice. So it's a one person type thing. You just crank on one, you go over and crank on the other one. I really liked that kind of feature on it, and I did look around quite a bit, and I looked at Northern Tool, and just seemed like Harbor Freight just had a better quality product than the other guys, and for just a hell of a lot better price. So this is the way I went, and it took a few hours to put together, and I did it mostly by myself except for having it stood up. So you can do this. You're gonna need a little bit of help, but man, I like it. So I recommend it, and we'll put it to use, and we'll do another little review here in a few months once we've got a little work out of it, and tell you how she performed. All right, guys, thanks for watching.